Hi, today we're going to talk about sexuality. Hope you're okay with that. Okay, so in the previous videos, we looked at how our genome shapes us. So we have looked at how a chunk of DNA that become our cytochrome P452A6 shapes the way we smoke, and we looked at how a chunk of DNA that became our hemoglobin shapes the way we run, we walk, we make some sport. So today I was feeling a bit controversial, and I was wondering where is the limit of the influence of our genome. So I was wondering, I was asking to myself, can exist a piece of DNA like that, like these, like this rectangle? Can exist a piece of DNA like that in our sequence that became something that shaped the way we relate to each other, to our partner? In other words, can our genome influence the way we relate with others and we feel our sexuality? So this is a question, I mean, this is a topic, and it's not even original. It's a question that everybody, I mean every people that know about this stuff, I think they are wondering if where is the limit, where is the wall between genes and who we are. So I said we aren't original. I am not original to ask this question to myself, and this is a question old, like 30 years old. Okay, the first study to try to relate the genome with our sexuality, with homosexuality, for precision, this study that we will talk about, the aim of this study was to relate genetic sequence with the homosexuality in males. So in two sequences we will look at this study, okay? But for first, I just want to talk a little bit about how this kind of study was are today also carried, because I think to fully understand what is the meaning of this study, we have to know what are the procedure and the base of the things that we will say. So let's dig into it. This kind of study is like a generic kind of study about the relation between a characteristic that you can see, like a disease, or like the height, or like the smell, like I don't know, every characteristic that you can see, and the relation of this characteristic with the genome. So to relate them, you have to make some probabilistic game. You know, you have to say 30% of the people with this disease have this kind of sequence, okay? Or all the people that are 2 meters tall have this kind of sequence on the chromosome 4, so that you can infer that this kind of sequence on the chromosome 4 makes you, I don't know, height like 2 meters. So this is the base, okay? This is the scientific base of this kind of study. And they've tried to make an analogous thing about the sexuality, about homosexuality. So they looked at a lot of homosexual families, and they were searching for some insight about what the sequence related with the homosexuality was. So they looked at chromosome 1, and they said, okay, chromosome 1 for homosexual people was is really similar to chromosome 1 of heterosexual people. They looked at chromosome 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth. They arrived to chromosome X, okay? And this is a magnification of X chromosome. These in reality are 2 X chromosome, okay? They are just linked. This is one chromosome, this is another chromosome. Let's make some anatomy just to orient us. This is the P arm of the chromosome. this as is the P arm of the other chromosome, this is the Q arm of the chromosome, and this is the Q arm of the other chromosome. P stands only for petit, that means small or little in Francais, and the Q is just the letter after P in the alphabet, because the geneticists sometimes aren't that creative. So they looked at X chromosome, and they found that a zone in our X chromosome, the zone called XQ28, and it means is a zone into the X chromosome on the Q arm on the position 28, that it means it's near the end. This zone, this chunk of DNA of the homosexual people was different from this chunk of DNA of heterosexual people in a statistical significant way. So in this study, that I will leave you the reference because it's off topic, okay? This is delicate. I want to make some discussion about that because I mean it's interesting. If you know something about that, or you will read the paper, or you just have your idea, let's make a discussion, because I mean it's really interesting. And in these studies, so they finish relating this zone of the X chromosome with the predisposition of homosexuality. And I mean this is controversial. Like today, scientists are arguing about the repeatability or the goodness of this study, this kind of study, and there is not a dominant version of the thought about this stuff. It's like everybody has his own opinion. And I don't know, let me know what do you think. But let's imagine just for a moment that this study is correct, and it exists a chunk on our DNA that predisposes us to be homosexual. I mean, it's not that the homosexual have this chunk and the heterosexual doesn't. It means that the chunk of DNA of the homosexual on the position XQ28, it's slightly different from the chunk XQ28 of the heterosexual from this study, okay? So let's look at the consequences of this found. Our X chromosome, girl have two X chromosome, and male have just one. And my X chromosome, I'm a male. It's not from my father. My X chromosome came from my mother. It's not that I know because I'm special. Every X chromosome in a male came from the mother, because the mother, in the moment of conception and the moment of fertilization and everything, the mom gave us our X chromosome, and the father gave us male our Y chromosome. So if it's true that the zone XQ28 is the zone that predisposes us to our homosexuality, it means that is the genetic of our mother that predispose us to be homosexual. Okay, so I thought that it was pretty interesting. I mean, it's something I like to wrap my mind around. I found it interesting, okay? Let me know what do you think, because I really appreciate, I would really appreciate a discussion about this topic. And okay, this is it. This is another example. I mean, we are still talking about central dogma, okay? This is the playlist where I talk about central dogma. We are still talking about how our DNA shape us, how our DNA makes the RNA that makes the protein that makes us. So this is it. Let me know if you have appreciated this video. Let me know what do you think about the topic that we cover in this video. And thank you for watching. See you later.